The Circle of the Stars Druid is one of the most fun new subclasses that was added with patch 8 of Baldur's Gate 3, and in this video I'll be showing you an overpowered build multi-class with the Cleric. And what's great about this is it shares its casting stat and wisdom. We can apply radiating orbs on our action, bonus action, and by walking around, giving the enemies up to a -10 to their attack rolls so that we keep our team safe. Now, you may be interested in this outfit here. I think this fits perfectly with the Star Druid, and this one here is the Stellar Nocturne outfit set by Barry Semifreddo. This actually released just this week in Baldur's Gate 3, alongside one of my mods as well, so I'd recommend checking both of those out. But into the subclass build here. So we want to grab Shillelagh and Thornwhip actually here. We're going to get guidance at level 2, so you don't have to worry about it there for that single level once you get off the Nautiloid. Shillelagh is amazing on Torch because it's going to give an additional 1d4 of fire damage on top of the 4 to 11 bludgeoning damage we'll be doing with Shillelagh, or Shillelagh, depending on your pronunciation. Thornwhip's great because sometimes you can pull enemies off of cliffs and things like that, so we want to have that there. Now, once we get to our stats, the great thing again being Wisdom is a shared stat here, and I would recommend, since we can get medium armor, to go a bit high in the dexterity for your initiative, but overall it's probably better to go with 14 dex, 16 constitution, and 16 wisdom, since the luminous armor only allows a +2 to our armory class, and that's the best in slot, which you can get in Act 1 for this build. But I also want to mention the moon basking armor counts in our starry form because that's a wild shape form, so we can get an additional boost to our armor class from that as well, and temporary health is kind of an interesting choice. But I honestly think that the luminous armor is just so crazy on this build. In skill proficiencies, I recommend grabbing perception. And level 2 gives us our subclass, which gives us guidance, amazing, +1d4 bonus to ability checks. We also get Guiding Bolt, which we get 2 charges of our star map here, which is nice because early on in the game you don't have a lot of spell slots, and any extra free spells is great. We also have our wild shapes, so sometimes you might need to turn into a cat to go through a hole. It gives you a lot of versatility outside of combat, but the main thing is our starry form. This takes a bonus action, but heads up, do it right as soon as you long rest because it lasts until long rest. Luminous Arrow gives us a radiating orb attack that we can just do on a single target at range. The Dragon gives us a Dragon's Breath, which is actually amazing with that Dazzling Breath because we can hit multiple targets and apply radiating orbs on all of them. It's crazy. And the Chalice gives us a bit of extra healing, which is nice when we add it in the Cleric, but honestly, yeah, the Dragon's going to be the one you stay in at most times. This also helps with your concentration because the lowest you can roll is a 10, which means if we throw in Spirit Guardians, we're not dropping that. And for our spells, Create or Destroy Water is one that I love having if you have a cold or lightning caster on your team, like a sorcerer or wizard, or even a Hexblade Warlock. Blast away with this, it'll double their damage. Fog Cloud for a bit of extra stealth support. Long Strider, everyone should have this, at least one person on the party. You can also have that on your wizard if you prefer. Thunderwave, pushback, it's good. And also Healing Word for the bonus action heal. You can use that to pick up downed allies if they're in the need that help condition there. Now, once we get to level 3, I honestly, after tons and tons of trying, there's so much overlap between these two subclasses. I tried the 6-6 split between these, and getting the Omen of Weal or Woe is just inferior to the improved Warding Flare the Light Domain Cleric brings. Now, if you want to multi-class with the Tempest Domain, I may do a video on that as a future. I've tested it, but I honestly think it's best at this point to multi-class out. As silly as that sounds, you're going to see this is actually pretty overpowered. We're then going to go with the Cleric, which we're going to take the Light Domain. This gives us a reaction with the Warding Flare, and it actually gives us some real offenses. Now, the Druid is amazing for their crowd control and utility with Spike Growth and the Woodland Being. However, the Cleric, and especially the Light Domain, gets Fireball and Scorching Ray, which is an amazing choice for damage. And we also get to take some great cantrips here with things like Sacred Flame being an amazing choice. Also, Toll the Dead, which is a wisdom save for when this doesn't land on Dex, because there's a lot of goblins in the early game, and they have great dexterity. Also the same thing for Bursting Sinew because it's a little bit harder to land. But Resistance is another good one. Toll the Dead will be our main option for damage. We also get Burning Hands, which is nice because we don't have many options for like an actual thematic damage. Just be mindful, fire is often resisted. We do have some overlap here, but we want to grab Counter or Command. This is just one of the most impactful spells in the game. Shield, a nice one to increase armor class by 2. We already have Guiding Bolt, so I actually don't think we need to take it here because it's honestly just overlapping. Bless is a good one here for the buffs that it brings in. Sanctuary, bonus action, stops the targets from getting hit, which is really nice. Level 2 gives us a big Radiant attack, the Radiance of the Dawn, huge AoE, and it dispels magical darkness if you're getting screwed over by that, although darkness can be on your side too. That's user channel divinity, so it's just something to keep in mind. We can add in the Inflict Wounds, or if you really want to use Bane, but there's just a lot of overlap between these classes that we just need to ignore at the starting of the game. Level 5 is when we get our Scorching Ray here, but the thing is, these actually combine together in spellcasting levels, so while you're not getting Fireball at this level, Honestly, you could start the game as just a pure cleric and add in the druid later, but with this, Scorching Ray is nice upcasted. It's a powerful spell. And furthermore to this, we can actually, with a bunch of gear, apply Radiating Orbs with Scorching Ray, which is going to be one of our main damage options for that reason. We also get Flaming Sphere, which is a concentration, but gives us something else to hold aggro with, so I actually like to have that. Hold Person being one of the most powerful spells that we want. Hold your concentration on this, blast away with Scorching Ray, free crits, high damage. I also like Spiritual Weapon. Now, a lot of people hate this spell, but it's a bonus action that'll soak up damage for your team. It's nice if you can, if you spawn it at their back line, and it does have a bonus action requirement, so it's probably better to do this outside of combat, but the Maul can daze targets, which means that you have an easier time landing command or hold person. So it's worth using. I also like to take Produce Flame at this level because this is a light source for the purposes of generating any radiating orbs. We want that. Bursting Sinew is fun, but honestly, it's just better because you can hold this until long rest. Not a lot of people take Produce Flame, but hold it in your hand, it gives you a cool blue glow, and it gives you a light source for a variety of different things. Now, I like to take Aid because we got full spell progression. We may as well give that big boost to our team's health. And for the feat that we'll be taking at next level, Alert, +5 to initiative. Going first in combat's nice when we're the debuffer. This is one that I think is a non-negotiable. Some people prefer to go with like an ability score improvement. Some people like to go with like Warcaster for holding concentrations. But with the dragon form, we have a good time holding our concentration. Either way, Alert to go first and debuff the enemy, I think, is the best option. Level 5 gives us Fireball here. Or I guess level 5 Cleric, level 7 total. Honestly, you guys already know what that is. It's a good spell. It hits a lot of targets. We'll then also throw on Spirit Guardians because we want to hold our concentration on this now, unless there's a prime target for hold person. Spirit Guardians that are main debuffing with radiant damage. We want to basically run into a target with our Beyblade of Death, the Spirit Guardians, which can apply our radiating orbs to debuff the enemy. But then also we got our Dragon Breath, which we can attack with. It's crazy. And alternatively, if you don't like using one of those spells, Glyph of Warding is kind of nice. It's like a fireball at short range, and you can change the element if you wanted to. But level 6 Cleric, this is when we get our great reaction here. This gives disadvantage on an attack roll, and it can be provided to now not just us, but our team as well. As I mentioned, the Druid gets the Omen of Weal or Woe, which eats our reaction as well to provide a similar effect. Giving a disadvantage means they roll 2 die and take the low result, so this is much better for protecting our team. The Omen of Weal of Woe is nice, but it's competing in terms of the effectiveness. So yeah, save this, use it. It's not a resource. It can be used a lot of times. A little pro tip with Glyph of Warding. If you're a half-elf or an elf, you can put a sleep glyph at your feet and you won't fall asleep, but enemies will. I also like Healing Word. It's not really super great for this build, but it's a little extra healing for the entire team. Level 7, we get Guardian of Faith here, and also Wall of Fire. Great concentration if you didn't want Spirit Guardians, but honestly, Spirit Guardians is the way to go. You can apply Radiating Orbs with it, though. It's kind of an interesting way, but I also don't think that it's worth taking any of these. Freedom of Movement can be nice for the buff, but Mass Healing Word just allows us to heal. If there's 2 teammates down on one turn, we can use that, and then our Warding Flare might turn our hits to misses, our enemies' hits to misses. Level 8 just gives us a boost to our Wisdom modifier to our Cleric cantrips, which is nice, don't get me wrong, but yeah, we're not going to use cantrips a crazy amount, especially not this late in the game. Now, at this point, I think Freedom of Movement or Banishment can be nice to add on. Death Ward is another choice, too, if you prefer it. And for our second feed, actually, I want to quickly mention Lucky. For not taking your reaction, you can use this to give advantage on attack rolls, ability checks, or saving throws, or to make enemies reroll their attack rolls. So you can sometimes use this if you really, like, if you ran out of abilities to protect your team, you can use this as a last-minute, like, Hail Mary. It's actually kind of funny and fun to use. Just wanted to mention if you've never taken it before. Warcaster is also great because this gives you advantage in saving throws to maintain concentration. If you don't use the Amulet of Greater Health from Act 3, this is a good way to get that. And it also gives you a reaction, Shocking Grasp. Just be mindful that you may want to save your reaction for the improved Warding Flare. We're just going to go with that Wisdom increase. I think that this ends up being the best choice here because it's better for our spell casting. Now, level 9 gives us our Flame Strike, good spell, but better spell, Destructive Wave. Radiant damage, so it applies radiating orbs. It knocks enemies prone. I can't say enough good things about Destructive Wave. It's a strong spell. You're going to want to use it. We also get Insect Plague here, which can actually apply radiating orbs. It's not amazing, so I don't recommend taking it, but we don't really need anything else here. Planar Binding is just fair. Contagion's kind of cool because this does not require concentration. You can do it outside of combat, and you can actually make it so that the enemy ends up getting a vulnerability to all damage types. So kind of an underrated spell if you want to use the setup for it, but yeah, it's okay. And for our final level, we get our Divine Intervention. Good stuff. We also then get our spells there. And nothing super necessary here. I guess we could just grab the healing spells that are there. Don't need to use them, but again, Contagion's cool. Now for our equipment here, it's actually kind of funny, but you can use the Armor of Moonbask as mentioned because this will give you that 22 temporary health when you cast your Wild Shape. It also reduces all incoming damage by 1 when we have that temporary health. We also get that +2 bonus to our armor class, advantage on saving throws against spells, which is actually a massive, massive boost. And it lets us use a full dexterity modifier. So if you had a higher dex, it'd actually be pretty solid. However, there's one that just is much, much better with the Luminous Armor available in Act 1. Insane. So a Radiant Shockwave, what this does is it puts two Radiating Orbs on the enemy in a 3-meter radius. So if you actually hit 2 targets that are standing beside each other, it'll apply 4 and 4. Then it also is crazy because the Luminous Gloves will also apply Radiating Orbs on the enemies. And the Coruscation Ring will also apply Radiating Orbs if we're illuminated by a light source, which again, we have with Produce Flames. So you can literally just go whoop, and now we have our light source at all times, no matter what, until long rest, and it's free. Doesn't cost anything. Crazy. And then we also got the Callous Glow Ring, which if we have a target that's illuminated, we get 2 additional points of radiant damage. It doesn't mention radiant damage, but that's going to actually proc this and this and this and this and this. It's crazy because our Scorching Ray also now does radiant damage. Our Spirit Guardians, radiant damage. When we go into our Wild Shape, we got radiant damage as a bonus action. So yeah, you can see there that Dazzling Breath, well, it only does a 2d6. That's all it needs when you got the ability to apply Radiating Orbs in a huge area. And you look cool like this. Again, I would recommend using this equipment mod. It just fits in perfectly with this. But honestly, the Radiating Orb gear is just so good. But that's not all, folks. We also, since we're applying conditions, can use the Boots of Stormy Clamor from Act 1 to apply 2 turns of Reverberation, which then sets up our Thunderskin Cloak. So when a creature with Reverberation deals damage to the wearer, which we're not likely to get hit again because we're applying Radiating Orbs, but if they do, they'll do a Constitution saving throw or become dazed, which means that they have disadvantage on command and hold person saving throws. And because of that, we could use the Hat of Fire Acuity. I want to really mention that, but we don't need crowd control as much because Spirit Guardians is our main concentration, so we're not likely to drop hold person, but it can be good because command is super impactful. So I am using the Holy Lance Helm because if someone misses us, it reapplies Radiating Orbs. It's really silly how powerful this is. But I do want to mention the Hat of Fire Acuity fits perfectly on this build as well. And for weapons, if you really want to min-max Hellrider Longbow for a +3 initiative, and we can throw on the Staff of Spell Power for our first little tricky maneuver here. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the free cast, which allows you to cast any spell for free. You can then take our Guardian of Faith here, and you can plop it down wherever you want if you know you're getting into a fight. Because then we have our Defender there, which does 60 health. We can throw on Marka Heshker here. Now, this is only for epic gamers at this moment. It may be too powerful, so be warned. Bolts of Doom from Kreska's favor here gives us lightning charges on top of all this, which goes insane. I'm just going to mention this does end up breaking the game. This staff is super powerful. It's better on a cleric, it's better on a sorcerer, believe it or not, because with the sorcerer, they can use Twin Spell on the Chain Lightning and Chain Lightning 2 targets at once. Flames of Wrath is nice, however, this ends up burning you and then you end up taking fire damage to break your concentration. Frost of the Dark Winter is okay, but honestly, the Bolts of Doom, since we're doing a multi-hit attack with Scorching Ray, this gives us lightning charges on our Scorching Ray. It's actually insane. And my Guardian of Faith just disappeared. Another thing I should have mentioned is if you know you're getting into a fight, Spirit Guardians can be precast, and it can also be upcast, which gives actually a very respectable amount. This is one where you could upcast it. That is crazy, a 68 of damage. I like level 4 since we have the same amount of spell slots as level 3, and there's not a high contention for level 4 spell slots. You're likely to hit multiple targets with your Spirit Guardians. So yeah, let rip, get it going, and run around. 4 Radiating Orbs, 2 Reverberation. 4 Radiating Orbs, 2 Reverberation. The closer the enemies are, the better, because sometimes you can get really lucky with, you can see there, 4, and this one's here is 2, and we can get a little closer. Oh, we took them out. 10 Radiating Orbs on this enemy. That's exactly what I was talking about. So basically it procs multiple times, and then we have multiple damage riders that can end up impacting that further. And we have our Dazzling Breath too, which I can hit 2 targets here, so that is ideal. Although that one already has max Radiating Orbs. It took them both out with Call the Weak. Kind of crazy. And since our hand is glowing there and we're in a light source, we do have that enhanced Scorching Ray, which is just going to be crazy. I would also recommend upcasting this one. And you can be smart with casting this because it's going to apply radiating orbs in an area. So if there's a target that's like in the middle of everybody, you can just blast them with it. You can see there, yeah, that took him out. Otherwise it would have stacked 10 radiating orbs, 10 radiating orbs, because our lightning charges interact kind of silly with it. So you can basically get that going on anybody. If I use the Hat of Arcane Acuity, or the Hat of Fire Acuity as mentioned, you would have had a plus 10 to your spell save, which is not super high, but we're not missing really. So not super necessary, but 27 spell save DC, nobody would escape your commands. I just think this one works really easily for what it is. Although I do want to mention the Hat of Fire Acuity is probably the best in slot. It's just also not necessary if you need to be a full defensive caster. And I'd also prefer to have it on like a sorcerer. And this is our Warding Flare, so this is good if there's like a attack that you really just don't want to get hit with. You can use this. I also like to use it to protect teammates here. We took pretty brutal damage there. Oh, they just missed us. What's funny about that is they now have 8 stacks of radiating orbs, and the enemies around them, he just got 4 stacks of radiating orbs because our helmet, since he missed, struck him with the radiating orbs, and then it did that 3-meter radius where everyone in that surrounding area got hit with them. Actually pretty insane because now he's debuffed, and yeah. He also has 4 stacks of reverberation. And every turn you're likely going to want to try and run into as many targets as you can, just because, yeah, you're going to keep reapplying radiating orbs. It doesn't matter if they attack and try to hit you. It's fine, actually. This one has 9 radiating orbs, so I'm actually going to proc the opportunity attack. He's less likely to hit, and we got the reverberation and our helmet to reapply, and now he has 10 radiating orbs. So, yeah, don't be afraid to sometimes proc opportunity attacks, because, yeah, health is a resource. Use it. He saved on the Smite the Graceless, so he got lucky with that. But yeah, you want to use that as much as possible. Now, honestly, one of our best choices is always going to be Scorching Ray, but sometimes Fireball is nice because you can hit multiple targets. It's just Scorching Ray with lightning charges is just so bustedly strong, and you can just blast away at multiple targets here to apply it. Radiating Orbs in an area wherever you need it. Yeah, we overloaded all of them. We missed that target, but he has full 10 Radiating Orbs. Insane stuff here, and then I can just go with a Chain Light. Oh, no, I walked past the gate. Psionic Backlash, funny enough, will actually get Radiating Orbs, Lightning Charges, and all of that on enemies. So, because I broke my concentration there, I don't have Spirit Guardians up anymore, and I don't have my usual damage options, but I'm just going to blast away at this target here with a Scorching Ray, making sure that I don't miss, because, yeah, that's a lot of numbers. Right, here's the combat log. It is really long. Yeah, you get a bunch. We had Thunder, Radiant, Lightning, and Fire blasting away there. And our Dazzling Breath may just be what we need to win here. It was. So, yeah, it's crazy. Star Druid actually complements the Late Domain Cleric so well. The thing is, with this, you do sacrifice Planar Ally, which is a great spell, but you gain Dazzling Breath, which is a 2d6 every single turn that's stacked on top of your Spirit Guardians to reapply Radiating Orbs. You are a defensive monster. And you saw there, we handled combat really well because with the lightning charges on our Scorching Ray, we just reapply so much damage, and there's a lot of riders going on. It's insane stuff. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them below as well. And subscribe if you found this video useful. I hope you guys have a great day. Go check out that mod, Stellar Nocturne outfit set by Barry Semifreddo, and my new Heartsworn Knight Fighter Charisma-based fighter subclass released yesterday.